Hello everyone, and this might be the most important Halo video or really gaming video I make this year. It's something I have been very vocal about in the past, you guys have too, as it directly affects the experience you have when you're gaming online. The new system of skill-based matchmaking has been a plague for years. It's been almost a decade at this point, with every single game developer, including Halo, having the same stupid system. To me, this new system seemingly destroys the very soul of what makes gaming special to us. Halo fans particularly recognize and say to me often, "Remy, Halo feels so different now. I get on after work, there's very little in terms of social features, I can't really hang out with my friends, and just the people in my lobbies feel different." You then compare that experience from modern gaming to say Halo 3 on the Xbox 360, and everyone on the old days is laughing. You get a variety of people. Culturally, it's a very different experience. On top of that, and it really doesn't help, people have also noticed just how unfair the matchmaking is in terms of team balance. Often you'll see very lopsided teams one way or the other, and it leads to not a very relaxing experience. The reason why this has all come to a head all of a sudden, and it's a monumental change for gamers, and it's why I'm making this video, Battlefield 6 is coming out today. With it, Battlefield developers have literally said that skill-based matchmaking is in the game, but it has a very low priority. Battlefield developers have said the mixture of player skill levels is what gives the game its soul, and they're 100% correct. Also, a very major change, and I need to include this, is that the skill-based matchmaking is actually dependent on each game mode you play. That means if you sweat in one game mode, one playlist, it's not going to affect the other ones. So you can relax in one, try hard in the other, you got the best of both worlds. As you can see on screen now, in lowering levels of importance, the skill-based matchmaking on Battlefield focuses on ping, players' location, so where they live, server availability, and some skill factor. As you can see, the game still has skill-based matchmaking, but it's not the be-all end-all. That is where the current Halo system has big problems. Not only does the matchmaking restrict who you can play with, but because of the way it's designed, it actually makes your ping worse. It doesn't prioritize the lowest ping for the best experience. It lowers the available amount of players, and on the whole, it ruins the experience of many people trying to enjoy the game. I mean, through the entirety of Halo Infinite's lifecycle, if you guys don't know this, my entire region, Oceania, Australia, and Asia, we borderline can't play Halo Infinite without a VPN. It is that bad. We know, courtesy of Mr. Rebs, a multiplayer standalone live service project is being worked on. So now is the perfect time to push to bring back a social game where players can have fun. But here is where it gets really juicy. Because Battlefield 6 is going to be so successful, now Call of Duty, for the first time in 6 years, has completely rolled back its own skill-based matchmaking. The tweet today said, "Open matchmaking confirmed. At launch, open matchmaking with minimal skill consideration will be the default matchmaking for Black Ops 7 multiplayer. Our team is committed to providing players with a more varied experience, and the beta was a valuable opportunity to test this approach." So you're telling me all it took was a little competition and Call of Duty rolled back the horrendous matchmaking? Are you kidding me right now? This is where Halo comes into it. Battlefield now has the old school matchmaking. Call of Duty is going back to the old school matchmaking. Now is the time for Halo to revert to that old school classic matchmaking. Truthfully, in saying that, it may not be as far away as you think. Why do I say this? Well, the last two rotational playlists on Halo Infinite, Banished, Slayer, and Invasion, they both use the classic style matchmaking, or a closer version to that compared to other Infinite playlists. It seems as though Halo Studios is testing something, as I could 100% tell the difference between those two playlists and the others. Ironically, you know how I can tell that it's slightly different? It's because I can actually find a game all throughout the day in those playlists. Usually I can't play at all without a VPN, and that was not necessary for Banished Slayer at all. The current system on Halo, to give you guys a better idea, literally goes against what the original Bungie Halo matchmaking was designed to do. It is the polar opposite, in fact, to the point where the creator of the system, Max Hoberman, current Certain Affinity CEO, I'm going to read to you guys what he said, and keep in mind what I said about Battlefield 6. Listen how close this sounds to the Bungie way of matchmaking, and you'll see where the soul has been lost in many of these modern games. By intentionally allowing a range of skills to match together, we provided 3 experiences during Halo 2 and Halo 3 in ranked matchmaking. An easier one where you can kick butt, a harder one where you're likely outmatched, and an evenly matched one. My theory was that a good mix of these 3 was ideal. Why not always evenly match people, just like the new matchmaking does? My reasoning was that these are actually the most stressful matches of the set. Sure, they're the most fun to watch for spectators, close, games down to the wire. That's because the team that wins is the team that outperforms expectations. Quick little thing I want to add, and it's from what you guys said yourselves, that's why you get so tired playing and it's not relaxing, because the system has literally been engineered for the player to play at maximum efficiency. That is what gets rewarded, the team that outperforms 24/7. It's not sustainable. That's why when games are close all of the time, people disengage as they don't get any time to mess around at all. I'll put the little quote on screen that's literally from the skill-based matchmaking document, you'll see what I mean. Max Hoberman, ex-Bungie developer, went on to say, "The failure of modern skill-based matchmaking, in my honest opinion, is that it's designed to maximize these perfect match scenarios and minimize the others. When it's working, a majority of the games become super tight, super stressful. That's not fun for most players. Where's the variability?" I haven't even gotten to the unranked playlist yet. I designed these to not factor in skill level in the search for opponents. Yes, our engineers utilized the same codebase and kept skill level as a search criteria, but we substantially deprioritized it in matchmaking. That is exactly what Battlefield 6 and our Call of Duty is doing. We also didn't track skill level globally, only per playlist. The net result was that unranked matchmaking allowed a very wide range of skill levels to match together for what everyone agreed was casual, inconsequential fun. Again, that's the way it should be. You guys see what I mean? Just like Battlefield 6, each different playlist has its own skill-based matchmaking. You can have a place to sweat, a place to chill. It is not a global thing. And truthfully, what Max Hoberman said, that is such a big part of what makes Halo, well, Halo. For modes like Big Team Battle, it should be casual, inconsequential fun. You can have a ranked version of it for sure, but for the unranked social version, it should be fun. Again, yes, have team balancing, and yes, of course, have some sort of skill-based matchmaking. Nobody is saying it should be removed completely, but prioritize giving players good ping, a social experience for said unranked playlists, the ability to play with friends at ease. It's so important for a game's longevity. For ranked, it can be competitive. It is literally designed to be that way, but not everything should have to be competitive. 343, for a very long time, used to say competitive matchmaking, competitive, competitive, competitive. They got memed to hell because of it, because players just wanted a social experience somewhere in the game. It's why I've been loving playing the Halo MCC again. The Master Chief Collection actually uses that older system. That means some games are sweaty, but others can be casual. I've shown you guys a lot of these, but they really do help to paint a picture. Slayer game mode, I MVP almost every match, and yet I lose every single one. It can be rough, honestly, and the fact that my performance in the unranked playlist, it seems to affect the team balancing in the ranked modes. That means if I do want to play competitive now, I have to make a Smurf account just to play ranked, and I don't want to do that. Currently on Halo Infinite, if you perform really well in one game mode, it affects every single other playlist. So if you say sweat in quick play, it will affect big team, action sack, every casual mode, and then on top of that, it will affect your team balancing in ranked. The #1 ranked player on Halo Infinite would purposely underperform, and he would get given the best players on his team, meaning he was completely destroying and manipulating the current system. It just seems like a no-brainer that it should be changed. The last thing I'll say is that I want friends to be able to play with each other with absolutely no restrictions. I want Halo to have pre- and post-game lobbies. Everything you guys say you want on Halo, it really should be there. The good news here, and actually do have some light at the end of the tunnel for everyone, Max Hoberman, the guy who is the CEO of Certain Affinity, the guy who provided all of this skill-based matchmaking information, the guy who created and is the godfather of this very system, because he is the CEO of Certain Affinity and they are the rumored studio working on the multiplayer standalone project, if he's seeing that Call of Duty and Battlefield are all going back to his system that he pioneered, there is a very, very big chance that we could finally get it back. I truly hope with Battlefield and Call of Duty finally listening to their fans that Halo Studios does the same. Max Hoberman, the ex-Bungie dev, literally said that cutting out your veteran player base out of playing is discrimination. I've consistently called out gaming corporations for stuff like this for years, and it truly is the corporations. Even as I am recording this video, the latest news says the corporate executives at Infinity Ward were the ones who made Call of Duty matchmaking so insufferable. Who would have thought executives making decisions on a game they don't even play, which in turn hurts their profits overall. I hope that with this new news, there is change on the horizon. To me, Halo is so much more than competitive matchmaking. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.